Hello. Hello, YouTube land. Today, we're going to be talking about eye cuts, and I'm going to show you on a Shatner how to do them from scratch, or how I do them. First part of the video here, I'm going to talk for a minute, because I don't want to just teach you physically how to do it. I want to teach you how to think about it so that going forward you can have a little bit more of an edge if you ever are doing this type of work in the future, or any work in the future. I know coming into the rehauling hobby, I have a little bit of a one-up on other starting rehaulers, just because I have 9 years of art school, and I have a background as a portrait artist, amongst other things, and I really think that what I learned over the years helped me quite a bit with doing the masks here, and seeing things in a certain way. Because when you're in art school, they train you to, you'll hear a lot, you'll hear the words training your eye, and you may not know exactly what that means, but it's training you to see things differently than you would intuitively. So you're sort of you're training the analytical side of your brain to just see things in a different way that the viewer, the common viewer, probably isn't, or somebody that isn't doing creative work. They're seeing things differently than artists are. One of those things, and again, you'll hear this often with intermediate art classes, things like that. You'll hear a lot about negative space. If you can hear my cat meowing in the background, he's attention starved, because we just ignore him all the time, and we treat him terribly, and that's him telling me about it. So I apologize. Ludo! Shh! I'm making a video right now. Okay, so negative space. So what we're looking at, instead of, so when you're looking at Michael Myers' eyes, and I'm using these two sculpts as an example. Here's the boogeyman. These are still stock eye cuts, so I have not adjusted these at all. And if you saw my last video, I talked a little bit about how the boogeyman's eye cuts, to me, are always just a hair too far apart. On both sides, they need to come in towards the bridge of the nose, just a tad. And if you look on, this is a much higher quality Chris Vannekamp sculpt. They are. This is. I literally just used the cuts from the sculpt. I didn't really have to adjust these from the blank. These are cut just a hair further in towards the bridge of the nose. So I have these off camera to the side here, just as reference. I would also recommend pulling up any 78 reference that you might have. I mean, obviously not everybody watching this video is going to have two other masks to work off of when doing their Kirk sculpt. So let's go ahead and bring that into frame here. Let's see. Alright. I'm going to try and do this with no edits. I don't like editing video. I have a rudimentary understanding of how to do it. We're going to try and do this all in one take, so I don't have to do any cuts. Because again, if you've watched any of my older videos, there are a lot of Ghostbusters prop building content on there. And I don't have aspirations of being a YouTuber, so I'm not going to put a bunch of effort into editing video. Let's see here, because I've never planned on monetizing my channel. And I really only make videos when I feel like there's a contribution I can make. There's a million rehaul videos out there, so I'm just covering the things I'm doing differently. But when you're looking at the actual eyes here, let's go ahead and bring the boogeyman, or we'll bring the Vannekamp sculpt back into frame here. Instead of looking at the shape of the eye and its placement, instead look at the shape of the space between the eye and the eyebrow. So don't look at this shape, look at this shape right here. And so when I'm going to put this onto the mask, I'm actually going to be trying to replicate that little space right there. So let's put this off to the side here. And here's trick number 2. Instead of using a black Sharpie or a pen or a pencil, as many other people would use, I'm actually going to be using Kiwi black shoe polish. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm planning on taking this back off after, well, obviously I'm going to cut out the black areas that I'm going to put on here. Ludo! Goodness, man. He didn't start even meowing until I started talking. Now he's like, wait, you're not paying attention to me anymore. You're giving attention elsewhere, and I'm mad. But another thing is, if I go too far with the shoe polish, I can get this brush wet and just literally kind of work back the positive and work it back with water, and I can take that right back off so I can end up at my end goal. So I'm looking off camera here to my other reference masks, and I'm just kind of narrowing this gap right here. They're gonna think I beat you. Somebody's gonna call the animal shelter on me. Stop. I'm really good to my cat, I swear. Better than he deserves sometimes. He's an evil cat. Alright. So I'm just very slowly, very carefully with a brush going in and putting these eye cuts where I believe they need to be. I went a little bit high there, I think. Maybe not. And for our left eye, or Michael's right eye, we call you'll hear that a lot be called the teardrop eye. I don't see it as a teardrop. I've never really seen what people are talking about there, but for the purposes of the video, I'm going to call it the teardrop eye just because that's what everybody else calls it. And see, I'm just filling in where that cut is ultimately going to go. Let's see here. All right. We'll go underneath here. And now again, I'm looking at the negative space going between where you'll notice on the cheek, you probably can't see it on here just because of how my lighting is, but there's actually a where it starts coming up right here. It starts that's where the eyelid ends and the cheek begins. So I'm looking at the space between the cheek and where the bottom of the eye should be to determine where I need to go down to. Now, another great method for trying to get this right is once you have the black filled in the way you want it, take a picture of it on your phone. And if you're using a reference photo from '78 on your phone, you can switch back and forth. Just swipe left, swipe right, and you'll be able to switch back and forth. And it's a lot of times an artist. I know there's other portrait artists that do this. And before camera phones were an option, what artists would do is they would step back a few feet, and you would see people like they do the thing where they hold up their thumb, but they always step way back and they put some distance between themselves and the piece, because a lot of times it's easier to see what's wrong when the picture's smaller instead of having it in your face. And there's things that you'll see in the photo of the mask that you won't see when you're looking directly at the mask. It's a weird concept, but it's another tool to help you become more accurate with whatever you're doing. Whether it's a mask, whether you're painting a still life, painting a portrait. A lot of times taking that photo with your phone will highlight things that you didn't see when you were looking at it with your naked eye. Another thing you want to do when you are taking pictures of the mask, you want to make sure you're standing a few feet back from the mask. Never have the camera right up to the mask. You'll have lens distortion. So it'll kind of give this fisheye look where all of a sudden the mask will have a bigger nose than it should. And pulling it back away from the camera is going to give you the most accurate representation. I did want to make one correction from my last video. I mentioned in the last video that the 1975 mask I said didn't have any paint on it. When I was pulling off the hair, I found out that was not a true statement. It has a very thin coat of paint on it, because I can see right here where I pulled the hair off. You can see there's some exposed latex there. Again, this is going to be right on the hairline, just behind, actually the hairline's probably going to go right about there. So it's going to be like right on the hairline. You're not going to see that, so I'm not even worried about trying to repair that at all. But it has a very thin coat of paint on it, much thinner coat than the Boogeyman does by far, because I can see all of these details up in the forehead are just much crispier on this mask. Same with the little detail in the eyebrows. There's that little dent in the head right there. There's a little bump on the side of the lip, and all of that is much more readable on this sculpt. But like I said, it doesn't have no paint. It has very thin paint. Not the same. So I think I'm actually pretty close to where I want to be here. And again, if you've studied Michael's masks, you'll know these are not, the two eyes are not symmetrical, which can make it a little bit tricky. But so that pretty much wraps up the teardrop eye. Now, and I also have black plastic covering my foam head underneath here. And so that's giving me a really good idea of how this is going to look when I make the cuts. So you can work it all out with the black shoe polish. Or if you don't even have black shoe polish laying around, probably regular black acrylic paint will work fine. No latex, just regular black paint that you can wipe off with water. And of course, you'll want to make sure all that's cleaned up before you start laying down your foundation paint. So let's switch over here. Now we're going to do what is often referred to as the lemon eye. This eye is shaped slightly like a lemon. So we're going to try and actually I'm going to make a little adjustment here because I can't see. The mask is blocking the other eye. Things I didn't think about before I started pressing record here. So we'll go ahead and I will likely make some adjustments off camera after I shut this off before I actually make my cuts. I just want it. I want to share this with you, this idea of negative space. Again, I'm not looking at the shape of the eye. I'm looking at the shape of the gap between the eyebrow and where the eye is. And so I'm going back and forth between the shape of the eye and the shape of the negative space to try and help me determine where my cuts need to be. Let's just get this in here. And the black shoe polish I would recommend picking up no matter what. I actually use it quite a bit in the Rehaul process, and I will cover those things in the later parts of my video on the things I do differently, because that is one of them. One thing about the shoe polish that's nice for the weathering is it's actually not all the way black. It appears black here, but when you use it for your weathering, it actually has more of an oiled grease look to it, which I personally find to be more effective when doing this type of thing. It doesn't read like paint. It reads more like natural weathering. Oh, and here I just did the thing that I told you I might do, which is I might have gone a little bit far. Maybe not. Maybe not. Like I said, if you go too far with the paint, you can wet your brush, and you can literally it's almost like you're reverse painting. You're removing the paint to get back to where you want to be, and you can sit there and add paint and take it away as much as you need to until it looks right for you. Because to be honest with you, the eyes, I mean, are they the most important thing to capture the likeness of Michael? Maybe. If the eyes are wrong, it's not Michael. That's just bottom line. There's some truth to that statement when it comes to the hair as well. If the hair's not right, it's not Michael. And again, like I mentioned in my last video, if you are looking for, I'm not actually going to do a video on hair, so don't hold your breath waiting for part 3 to come out to cover the hair, because I'm not going to. If you want a good lesson on the nuances of Michael's hair and how to really get it right, look towards Nick Mopagano. I know he does have some free videos on his channel kind of touching on hair, but his paid videos are an invaluable resource in my opinion. If you're brand new to this, just reach out to him, send him the 20 or 30 bucks he's asking for, and just get the paid video. If you're brand new to it and you have no knowledge going into it, he's going to cover a hell of a lot more in those videos than I'm going to cover in these little things I do differently videos. Alright, does that look right? No, we need to come down just a little bit more over here. We're close. We're not all the way there yet. Let's see. Very close though. So this needs to come down just a touch. Oop, I should have wiped off my brush a little bit more on there. Got a little too heavy-handed on there. Hopefully it doesn't drip on me. And just go slow. Take your time. No point in rushing it. I know sometimes the hardest thing when you're starting out, or just even being, not even when you're starting out, just being an artist in general, waiting for paint to dry sucks. And it requires that patience, because there's a lot of times, you know, when you lay down your white paint and it's time to do the wash, you want to do it right away. And it's not going to be good if you do. You should really just wait a day. And I know sometimes that sucks because you're in the creative mode and patience is not playing a factor as much, but I'm telling you, patience makes a huge difference. Wait for the paint to completely dry before you keep messing with it. And if you're having a hard time and it's not going your way, just stop. Take a break. Stop and take some photos. Spend some time staring at them. Figure out what you're doing wrong. And then once you figure it out, then get back to it. Maybe you had a bad day. Maybe you're tired. And you're frustrated and you're trying to force something to happen that isn't going to happen. Sometimes forcing creativity is a bad plan. You're going to end up with some of the worst results. So if you need to take a break, take a break. Let's see here. I don't think I'm all the way there. Like I said, I'm probably going to tweak it just a touch more off camera once I press stop on here, but I think I'm close enough that you all can get the idea of what I'm talking about. And now between the black paint and the black bag that I have covering the foam head, you have a very good idea of what your eye cuts are going to look like. Let's see here. And I can see I need to come in just a little further towards the bridge of the nose here, like I talked about at the beginning of the video. There's our lemon-shaped eye. I think we're already on the right track to making this look like Michael. Alright, I think that's going to cover it for today. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them down in the comments. I'm happy to answer. If you want to message me directly, Nick Grosskopf on Facebook. You'll see me in a lot of the mask groups. If you click on my profile, it says Darth Nick in parentheses next to my name. And my profile photo, for now anyhow, at the time of recording this video, my profile picture is a picture of me with a Halloween Ends mask on. That was all. I also did the Rehaul on. That's kind of one of my favorite masks I've ever done. That's my personal copy. Yeah. Throw me a question if you have one. Otherwise, we will catch you on part 2.